there are a couple of things that I want to, that I'm glad that I had a chance to come this afternoon and say to you. The first is I just want to register on behalf of our party our deep gratitude for the side-by-side partnership that we have had with the trade union movement in carrying out the campaign that we've just completed in Nova Scotia. And this is something that I've just experienced from many different angles. It makes a difference, for example, just this small thing, that as you know, you're going door to door, 90% of the doors there's nobody home. So you're leaving your leaflet, and you go to leave your leaflet, you open up the mailbox, and you see that the mail's been there this afternoon already, and part of it is a coupé or a uniform pamphlet that's explaining to the householder that Stephen McNeil's not a very good candidate for the office of the Premier. Say, oh good, they've been here before me. This is wonderful. And lots of times, since I had the privilege of campaigning and canvassing with our candidates in different parts of the province, I'll be meeting people I don't know, so I say, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm from the Labour Council. Hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm from the Congress of Newfoundland. Hi, I'm
so you met Kelly then?
I'm in the Waterford. Yeah. Kelly has to explain to me every time I see her who she is, because I know there's lots of people. I always meet lots of people in New Waterford I've never met before. And I'm here from such and such a union. This is true over and over in different parts of the province. It's not a very easy thing for anybody, no matter how experienced you are, when you're going door to door, to open up a conversation with a person you've never met before. One of the best things you can hear is a person saying, look, night before last somebody called me about this from my union. Well, that just opens the door up, eh? What union is that you're in? What did they have to say? What was your thought? And so those member-to-member phone calls mean so much. Or even as I experienced in our campaign in Halifax, Shabukto, where we were fighting for our lives, what a great impact it was to have late in the campaign the world's greatest uniform flying canvassing squad land, like they literally land. They come like a flock, and the flock lands, and then just devours a bunch of polls in the afternoon and evening, and your whole enterprise is put a great deal ahead. And so all of these kinds of things have made a big difference in this campaign that we've just come through. So as Tony says, we stand side by side in the Labour movement and the NDP, but where we're standing at this moment, 2.5 weeks after the election, we're standing in a place of appreciation and gratitude towards the Labour movement. So that's the first thing I want to say. And the other thing I want to say, I just want to register with you a sense of taking stock of what has been accomplished in this election 2.5 weeks ago in Nova Scotia, because a great deal has been accomplished in it. I want to mention in particular 4 things. First is that we have grown our NDP caucus from 5 to 7 members. Now, of course, that's an accomplishment for obvious reasons, but it's a deeper accomplishment even than you might see on the surface because of what it means and what it stands for. And what it means and stands for is this, that after the 13 provincial election, after the 15 provincial by-elections, and after the 15 federal election in Nova Scotia, it means, moving from 5 to 7 MLAs in this election, it means that we have here halted the trajectory of the decline of the left in Eastern Canada. Nothing less, full period, full stop. But that's one thing to take stock of, a significant thing that's just happened in Nova Scotia. A second thing is, it is very significant that the voice of Cape Breton is now being registered again on the Social Democratic side of the Nova Scotia House, the election of Tammy Martin. This is significant, and it's additionally significant because of who Tammy is. Many of you know Tammy. She's a longtime healthcare worker, more recently QP business agent, and I'm happy to tell you, as I announced to the provincial executive of our party yesterday, that she has been appointed our critic in the NDP for health and for labour.
Fabulous.
Here's the third thing that's worth taking stock of that just happened in Nova Scotia in this election. And I want to really underline this, that of our 7 MLAs, 5 of them are women. And now this is historic. It's not simply the case that now in the Nova Scotia NDP caucus, although this is the case, there is a higher percentage and higher concentration of women than in any caucus with official party status in any provincial or federal jurisdiction in Canada. That's true. It's also true that there is a higher percentage of women in the Nova Scotia NDP caucus today. They're having been sworn in on Friday. Alex and Tony would have been there with us, but we had this meeting going on here. But with their swearing in on Friday, the Nova Scotia NDP caucus now has the highest percentage of women in any party with official party status with a caucus of any political electoral formation in the entire history of the country. Big thing. That's a big thing. I thought this was true, but we started right after the election to get the research to confirm this. We finally get the last details on Friday. There has never been a formation in Canadian politics that had official party status that had as high as 77% of it made up of women. What a big step forward. So that's there. And the fourth thing, the last thing I want to say about the significance that we should register of what just happened in the Nova Scotia election is that all of this was accomplished on the basis of straight talk about the economics of inequality. And I mean this in this way. The platform on which the NDP ran in the Nova Scotia election, with at its center a $15 minimum wage, $15 a day child care, free community college tuition, and the most ambitious and serious anti-poverty program anywhere in the country. This platform was the single most seriously egalitarian, boldly socially progressive platform on which any party has run, major party has run in Canadian politics in the last 30 years. So a big thing just happened politically. And we, throughout this campaign, those of you who are from Nova Scotia will have taken this in during the campaign. We made the decision to talk straight to the people of Nova Scotia about the economics of inequality. We said to the people that the needs our people face call for dramatic, serious, major in scope investments to be made by the province of Nova Scotia. And that our people's need for good schools for their kids and improved long-term care facilities for our older people and better opportunities accessible when young people get out from grade 12, and to have a province where everybody's able to actually buy their food, that our people's needs for these things are greater than, are more important than the need to have a surplus in the provincial government's budget. And we made decision to say this straight on every occasion that was possible that arose before us in the course of the campaign. And we said, in conjunction with this, we said, and in order to address these needs, we know the government will need to borrow over the course of a 4-year mandate about $250 million a year. That's how great the need is. And we said straight, and if the government does this, we will be doing nothing any different than any of us do in our households when we borrow for a house, or we borrow for a car, or we borrow to get someone in our family in a better educational position. Now, for many years in Canadian politics, including Canadian Social Democratic politics, it has been said, and it has been virtually a consensus, you cannot say these things. You can think these things. You can say them in private. And you can say them at a political convention. You can say them at a labor meeting. But you cannot say them in public as your position in a political context. Because if you say them in public as your position in a public political context, large numbers of people are going to think you're crazy. And if you say these things, and which are true, which are utterly understood as true in the entire profession of economics, if you stand up in a political context and say that this is the truth and this is what we stand for, you will most certainly be politically wiped out. This is the consensus that has dominated social democratic politics in Canada now for decades. So what just happened in Nova Scotia is we said these things and we did not get wiped out. And so this means that we're now in a position, together with our partners in the labor movement and in the rest of the social movements, to turn now to the important work of the educational work and the organizational work of building a social democratic party in this province that is actually going to have the capacity to establish these truths that I've just been speaking of as the core and the center of the second social democratic government in the history of our province. So this is our great enterprise. Thank you.